With more and more of our lives being managed online, it makes sense that there are more cybercrimes than ever before. Whether it's draining the bank account of an ordinary person or stealing military secrets, the FBI is responsible for investigating these cyber threats and the criminals behind them. Number 5. In 2017, an individual working for a satellite tracking company was sent a strange email from someone that appeared to be a colleague. Though his colleague was fluent in English, the person who wrote the email clearly struggled with the language. The email advertised a new and ultimate software for tracking satellites. Naturally, the individual who received the email was suspicious, but given that it had come from someone trustworthy, he passed it on to the authorities just to be careful. This wasn't the first similar email to be sent to people in the aerospace industry, claiming to be from someone they worked with. People across the US and multiple other countries had received similar emails over the past few years, and in the summer of 2017, the emails were finally brought to the FBI's attention. The owner of the satellite tracking company investigated the code in the email, revealing hidden messages saying, "Hello, Iranian dark coders team," and signed using pseudonyms of 3 individuals. These would later turn out to be Saeed Arabi, Mohammed Espargam, and Mohammed Bayadi. The 3 were primarily known for vandalism, hacking into websites of important US and Israeli companies, so they displayed pro-Iranian messages. But the aerospace phishing emails revealed that they were part of something much more malicious. It wasn't hard for the FBI to trace where the emails had come from. Though the hackers tried to mask where they were based, all of the emails had been registered by someone with an Iranian IP address, and the backup email for each led investigators to Arabi's website. From there, officials were able to find Arabi's resume, where he boasted his occupation as an intelligence officer and operations manager for IRGC Air, Space and Cyber. He also claimed to have hacked into a company working in aerospace and satellites, as well as a UK aviation company. Arabi and his accomplices had stolen information from prominent targets working in the aerospace industry and created fake profiles for them, including social media accounts. They would send out these phishing emails where clicking the link would give Arabi and his accomplices remote access to otherwise secure computers. They extracted data and set up backdoors that would allow them easier access in the future. 2 companies, a real-time satellite tracking company and a satellite data communication company, are known to have been hit, but it's possible others were also targeted. The trio were indicted in September of 2020, but remain residing in Iran. Number 4. In May of 2017, the United Kingdom's NHS ground to a halt as doctors, nurses, and other members of staff were locked out of the computer system by a piece of malware. Remarkably, it soon emerged that this was not a targeted attack to cripple a country's healthcare system. This was just about money, though it's not clear exactly how much money the hackers actually received. WannaCry software infected hundreds of thousands of computers around the world, locking people out of their devices and demanding between 300 and 600 bitcoins for control to be handed back over. It exploited a weakness in Microsoft's operating system that the tech company had fixed in a patch, but those who hadn't updated their software were still vulnerable. UK cybersecurity agencies and other private investigators got to work trying to determine who the hacker was. All evidence led to an organization called the Lazarus Group, an organization the US authorities were already well aware of. The Lazarus Group is believed to be a hacking team sponsored by the North Korean government. The group has been in operation since at least 2009, when it primarily attacked South Korea, but it first became infamous in 2014 with an attack on Sony. It was believed Sony was targeted due to its recent satirical movie about the North Korean leader. More than 100 terabytes of data are believed to have been stolen over a period of at least 2 months, and private information about Sony's staff was leaked on the internet. After that, the organization's main goal seemed to have been acquiring money. Given the numerous embargoes placed on the country, the North Korean government gains much of its money through illicit means, including malware. The FBI has identified a number of individuals believed to be a part of the Lazarus Group, including Park Jin-hyuk. Hyuk is a North Korean national, educated at a university of technology. Not long after he graduated, he started doing IT work for the government and was soon part of the government's group of hackers. North Korea has officially denied the existence of Park Jin-hyuk, and of course has denied the government had anything to do with the crimes the Lazarus Group is accused of. But that hasn't stopped the US from charging Hyuk on 2 occasions. The first was for his involvement in the Sony attack, and earlier this year, he was charged a second time for the extortion of $1.3 billion from businesses around the world. But as he currently resides in North Korea, it's unlikely he will ever be apprehended anytime soon. Number 3. Not every hacking group connected to national governments works exclusively with their chosen regime. Some, as is the case with APT-41, balance government-backed espionage with cybercrimes committed for their own personal benefit. APT-41 Group, or Double Dragon, refers to a group of hackers based primarily in China. The FBI believes the group primarily works for the Chinese government, as it uses technology usually reserved for those connected with government agencies. The crimes they've been accused of range from installing ransomware and demanding payments from victims, to hacking into hotel reservation systems ahead of visits by Chinese officials. According to the cybersecurity firm FireEye, their main targets have usually been technology companies in the past. The FBI believes these hacks lined up with the goals of the Chinese government, as it plans to expand their own role in this industry, and the hacks were likely specifically requested. However, at the start of 2020, the group started a widespread attack on a range of companies: banking, defense, healthcare, manufacturing, oil and gas, pharmaceutical, telecommunication, and transportation companies from around the world were targeted, and poisoned codes and programs were installed into their systems. But APT-41 is relatively unique in that it doesn't just use government-supplied technology for its espionage work. When not working for the government, the group of hackers target companies for their own financial gain. Video gaming companies have been a popular target, as the group have been able to manipulate virtual currencies, as well as injecting malicious coding into otherwise legitimate files. An unknown United Kingdom citizen was also the target of a ransomware attack. Given the range of the attacks, determining what exactly can be linked to APT-41 and what is another organization hasn't been easy, but the FBI have been able to identify a number of individuals they believe to be a part of the organization. In 2019, 2 Chinese nationals named Zhang Haoran and Tan Delin were indicted. After the widespread attacks at the start of 2020, 3 more Chinese nationals were indicted separately, though all 5 are believed to be a part of APT-41. However, the US government has been unsuccessful in convincing Chinese authorities to work with them to apprehend the criminals, which has only strengthened their belief that the group is protected by Chinese authorities. Number 2. Not even something as beneficial to the world as trying to create a vaccine and the global pandemic has been immune from hacking attempts. In 2020, US officials announced that they had indicted Li Xiaoyu and Dong Jiazi for their attacks not only on companies working to fight COVID-19, but countless others over a 10-year crime spree. The US claimed the two hackers worked with the Chinese government, and this was a part of China's attempt to overtake other countries in the fight against the infectious disease. China denies anyone working for them has targeted the biotech companies in question. Li and Dong have been active long before the hacking attempt on the biotech companies. Both are known to have been active since 2009 and first came into conflict with the US government when they compromised computers at the site of a decommissioned nuclear production facility. They also found their way into the systems of defense contractors, stealing sensitive military information about military satellites and communication systems. The criminals have targeted companies around the world, stealing intellectual data. Occasionally, they demanded payment from companies to stop their source codes from being published online. Usually, the information is simply stolen. According to officials in the US, the theft is part of China's push to develop their own industries, and the government has been using its economic leverage to stop smaller countries from speaking about the crimes. Over the course of their criminal careers, they're believed to have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars worth of trade secrets and government information, and use the information to enrich themselves as well as China. But these attempts largely stopped at the end of 2019, when Li and Dong turned their focus to a new target. At least 3 biotech firms in the US, including Moderna, were targeted. The attacks were Renaissance activities, which means it could be anything from trying to find weaknesses to locating information after entering the networks. According to authorities, there was no indication any information about the company's research was stolen. But it's possible they may have accessed something without authorities ever finding out. They are also alleged to have been involved in targeting political dissidents, vocal individuals who have spoken out against China's human rights record, and other controversial actions. Number 1. Maxim Yakubets has been dubbed the biggest cybercriminal in history. He's the subject of the FBI's largest reward for information on a cybercriminal, leading to their arrest. But he makes little effort to hide his fortune or his crimes, as he flaunts his wealth in Russia. Since 2009, Yakubets has led the cybercrime group Evil Corp, which has stolen tens of millions of dollars from victims around the world. Everyone from high-tech companies to ordinary individuals have been targeted, and the group shows little sign of stopping. Yakubets' primary goal has always been financial gain. The group started out with phishing emails and installing malware, which would allow them access to a person's bank account. They would then drain the account, causing financial ruin for individuals across Europe and North America. But Yakubets' crimes would get bigger, targeting companies worth millions of dollars. In July of 2020, GPS tech company Garmin was targeted by the hackers. All the company's data was encrypted, making it inaccessible to anyone who worked for the company until a ransom was paid. It wasn't the first company to be subjected to such an attack. Evil Corp has claimed responsibility for similar attacks on 8 Fortune 500 companies and 1 major news publication, among others. With more people working from home, the group of hackers were able to reach more businesses than ever before in 2020, as people were more likely to be working on a less secure device. All of the money has allowed Yakubets to live a lavish lifestyle. Videos of him showing off his extensive supercar collection, and performing donuts around police officers have emerged online. His wedding is even believed to have cost more than $250,000. But Yakubets is wanted for more than just his financial crimes. He's known to have worked for Russia's FSB intelligence agency, and is the son-in-law of a former officer of an FSB elite special forces unit. In 2018, he was working towards a license to work with classified Russian information, and it's believed he may now be using his hacking abilities for espionage. According to the security consulting company TrueSec, Evil Corp may now just be using ransomware attacks as a cover for their real goals. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.